This is OD Stream with your host Danny,
And Omar.
and today we are covering two Netflix, one original series, and then one that was just put on Netflix, even though it came out in theaters. What, August? I think it was of
Yeah, it came out
2020.
in August. I'll consider these pandemic movies that came out in theaters Netflix originals
Yeah, yeah, for the
from
most
now
part, right?
on for the most part. Yeah,
Because
because
we
I
were
never
talking a
even
little
heard of
before.
Cutthroat.
Yeah, and we mentioned before that it's nice that these are coming to Netflix because otherwise I would never watch them. Like I think you mentioned Ava was one of them.
Yeah, I call it the pandemic theater releases. I feel like Netflix should just like feast on these. And why not? I mean, we probably would never watch it otherwise, unless it was on Netflix or like Amazon or HBO. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious. I didn't do any research on it, but I wonder what kind of cut they get for like being put on these, or if Netflix is paying them. Because I think they do get purchased, right? Like one of the streamers have to go out and buy these
Yeah, and
the rights for it.
it
I guess.
would be interesting to see what kind of percent. I feel like, do you think Netflix is just completely taking advantage of them, or it's like the other way around? I can't tell because Netflix already they hit me with that price increase email. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh no, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
13.99 a month now or something,
Oh wow,
starting
really? Yeah.
February 28th, I think it is.
Maybe because they're buying all of these. But yeah, I'm interested to see because a movie like Cutthroat, I think the budget was like 9 million, which wasn't a lot, but I think it made like under 1 million in the
Oh,
box office. So, but mostly because I mean,
oh, that makes sense.
pandemic and
Yeah.
everything. And I think Ava had the same issue. I think it only made like 3 million in the box office, and that budget was bigger. But so I mean, I would imagine that they would try to get the most money possible, selling their rights to one of the streaming services. But I mean, who knows
Yes.
how much that is?
Yeah,
you
especially when
know,
you
like
got big name actors and actresses like Colin Farrell and Ti. So.
oh yeah, well Ti was good, but we'll get into
All right,
that later.
oh, and
But
then by the
for
way, we didn't mention. So the Netflix original is Lupin that came out on the 8th, so the first Friday of January, and the movie that we're going to talk about is Cutthroat City. And I guess we can start with Lupin, right?
yeah, we can start with Lupin. So Lupin, just overview. It's a French show, so it is subtitled and it is dubbed. On a personal matter, I only actually saw one episode dubbed.
Oh, really?
The other four, I kind of had it like muted. Um, I was on like the treadmill for the other four
Oh,
because that
okay.
was like my treadmill, and I saw one episode upstairs, like outside, and that one I saw with the sound on.
Okay.
I didn't mind the dubbing. What about you? How do you watch these?
I any foreign movie or show, I always watch it with the original language. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, and I actually had a note to say that sometimes it's hard to tell with certain movies when like if the movie's in a different language, you don't know if they're good actors sometimes because it's like watching like an anime. It's like you don't know if it's good or not. It's just it sounds normal. But I could tell he's a pretty good actor. He's big in a lot of French movies. I think he does he's doing English movies now. He's going to be in Jurassic World, I think the sequel of that, and he's done a few voiceover things I think in America.
Yeah,
But
I think he was in. I'm looking at it now, but Jurassic World, the 2015 movie.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and I guess yeah, he's done a couple popular things,
but
but
yeah,
he did a great job on the show. I thought he was good.
yeah, and I think everyone was pretty good. I thought the yeah, I have no issues watching in its native language. I actually prefer it that way because, like I said, it's you get the same thing when you watch like a say an anime and you like try to hear it dubbed. It's just like, this doesn't sound right, and then all the female characters sound like 12-year-old boys. It's just weird, man. Like,
Yeah, so sometimes depending on the show, I 100% agree. Like sometimes the dubbing isn't. I remember I forgot what show. I think The Rain. Um,
okay. That's
I
like
saw the first
Norwegian or
episode.
something,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's Norwegian or yeah, somewhere Dutch
Somewhere,
or
yeah.
Netherlands or
Close enough.
but yeah, I had the same. I think the first episode or two I saw it dubbed. I didn't like it because it almost doesn't go with like how you can put like someone's voice to their face.
Yeah.
It just sounded really off to me.
Well, he
Um,
had the main actor Omar Sy, I think his name is. He has like a very like distinct like ooh French, you know. But like I have a feeling the dub's probably like, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy.
Yeah. He's a little like loosey goosey sounding, I guess, the English version. But it kind of goes with his character because he's so like charismatic. So I felt like they found the right voice for him.
Yeah.
I think the one voice that did bother me a little bit was the Pellegrini, the American dubbing for that. Just
I have
sounded
issues
off.
with
He
him in
just sounded
general,
like,
but
yeah, he sounded like a little too like bad guyish. Like he's
don't
just like,
worry, he
oh,
was the same thing in French.
oh,
It was the
really?
same
Okay,
thing,
oh,
yeah.
there you go. There
Um,
you
so
go.
do you wanna run through Lupin now?
Yeah. We could talk about, I guess. Do you want to go over the show at all, or just
Yeah.
talk
So
about certain things we like?
yeah, I'll give a brief overview of what the show's about. So basically, it's based off the I believe the French novels, the Adventures of Arsène Lupin,
Lupin.
gentleman thief, burglar. Right? That's it.
Yeah. I guess super thief. Think of like Pink Panther, I guess.
Yeah, master of disguise. Super suave. Essentially a less cool James Bond, you'd say. But and the story follows Assane Diop, who is on a kind of lifelong journey to prove his father's innocence because his father was framed for the burglary of this necklace of Mr. Pellegrini owned. And
Yeah. Was it like the Queen's necklace or something?
yeah, I think it's like Queen of
Whatever.
England or something.
Yeah,
Or
it
there's,
doesn't really
yeah,
matter.
it doesn't matter. But so he was framed for a crime he didn't commit and was and because of that he actually hung himself. But you find out later that, or suspicions later, that it was more, he didn't hang himself, like someone killed him and made it staged. And then but that's kind of foreshadowed. No one knows that yet, I think, so far. But Hassan Diop is basically, he took over this kind of persona of Arsene. How do you say Arsene? I'll just say
Yeah,
Arsene.
yeah.
Was it
I guess
Lupin?
Lupin.
Lupin.
Lupin, yeah.
Yeah, he takes over this persona of Lupin and becomes this kind of gentleman thief burglar, and it's pretty much on this quest to prove his father's innocence and also prove that Mr. Pellegrini framed them pretty much. And it just starts off with him. The first episode is basically the heist, that where he gets the necklace back that was stolen essentially 25 years ago. And that was kind of cool. And then every episode is episodic. It's only 5 episodes, which I'm a big fan of, for a
Yeah.
Netflix original.
And
Apparently
each
two
episode,
parts.
yeah. And the good thing was like each episode, it wasn't that long, but it felt long because each
Yeah.
episode was like very jam packed. And like you said, like each episode was almost like its own show,
Yeah,
which I thought was good.
I really like that, especially for a show like this, where it felt like every episode had its theme. Episode 1 was the heist of the necklace. Episode 2 was he goes into the prison to get some information about someone who was in prison with his father at the time, I think, in the same jail cell.
Yeah.
And but it's all like this self-contained story with the overarching story of like how it connects to Pellegrini, and how it connects to his father's murder / suicide. So it's pretty cool in that regard. Yeah, and then you have 5 episodes of that, and it pretty much ends with his son being kidnapped by some guy he gave the slip to once or twice throughout the 5 episodes, is one of Mr.
Yeah.
Pellegrini's goons.
Which we'll talk about because I didn't like the fact he got out of like the I mean, like
What,
he
the
got
locked
away
container?
from the police like so quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which was that I mean, it's something easy to get bothered over, but just because like, I don't know, just the amount of time that went by, I felt like didn't really match up.
Well, also that'll bring me later to one of my complaints about Mr. Pellegrini.
Yeah, fuck f that guy, man.
But what do you think about Omar Sy as a Sandiop / Lupin?
I loved it. So before I started watching the show, I don't even know where I read this article. It was like on I think it was on Yahoo or something. It was like a headline. It was like probably the best show of 2021 is out already. So I
Okay.
clicked it and it was talking about this show. It was
Yeah,
like,
I think that's
you know,
overstatement. It's good, but
yeah. I mean, it's a good
it's
show.
also
I mean, I like
January.
it a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like, but I guess to me it was like a different show too, because it's
Okay.
not really many like heist shows. But I thought, to answer your question, I thought he did an awesome job. And from I guess where I was going with that, so I was like, all right, let me check out the show. Put
Yeah.
on the first episode, and the first episode they do a really good job because the first episode is like you could tell a lot of the budget is in it.
Yeah.
Like it's very flashy and like they show like how slick he is like right away. And I thought he just like killed like that hooked me. I'm
Yeah.
like I like this guy. He's like awesome. And I think the previous podcast we did, I talked about that and Money Heist, how I was watching the two at the same time.
Yeah.
My issue with like Money Heist was I didn't really love the characters. I guess because I was watching Lupin, and I just loved him. I thought he was awesome. So I was like so engaged because of him, because of the character. So
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for his character, I might have lost, especially with the first episode. Like it was good, and you can tell that's where like the budget was, like you said, but it was generic. Like even like the necklace swap when he got tackled by the guy, and like
yeah.
sneaking in as the janitor. He's like, no, I'm not part of it. I'm gonna buy the necklace, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like okay, but yeah,
And
his
he walks
character
away like very smooth, or it's like, hey, stop there, and he's
comes out
like,
of the ground, apparently. But yeah, I really liked this character, and I thought it was good though. He was like both very like charismatic, but also like had that like big guy presence, like you know what I mean, like just
oh yeah. I mean, he is a big guy. I think he's like 6'3" in real life.
yeah. That's why I like when the first episode they just kind of like treat him as like a pushover a little bit, or I think it's episode 4 where he kidnaps the commissioner, and then it's like he has like the little hoodie with like the khakis and the tight sweater, and he's like supposed to be the IT guy. I'm like, yo, this guy plays basketball, man. I don't know,
yeah, he's huge. He's
he's like
towering over everyone else.
like heavyweight MMA fighter and shit. Like, but
No, that was good.
yeah, but he's definitely a good actor. I don't really I haven't seen anything else he's in, but apparently he's
You
big
mean
and
you don't dabble in French films?
no, if it's not Taiwanese
Korean?
and yeah, or Korean Korean dramas, I'm out.
Might
But
have to get into some French dramas.
but yeah, so what do you think about like the episodic kind of thing? Like did you like that they were kind of standalone with like the overarching, or
Yeah, I like that because the second episode was the one in the prison, right?
yeah.
I think it opens up with him right in prison. You see like the jail door like closing on him, and you're like, oh, like
Yeah.
how did it get to this? And then each episode kind of like does that a little bit, and then it plays out. And each episode, like we talked about earlier, is like its own show. Like episode 2 is the prison. Another episode is the whole like kidnapping thing.
Yeah.
The last episode is a little bit of like his background with his wife and a little.
That one was one of my favorite. I like that one, especially
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
and we'll talk about it later. But like, yeah, there's a funny scene there, and I wish they showed more of it. But like his background, like heist old times, where he looks exactly the same. but but
hey,
yeah,
it was only like 14 years ago.
but yeah,
But I did like that, and so I hope the one part 2 comes out. It's just as good.
yeah, and it's interesting too because I definitely agree for a show like this too. Like, not only is the episodic like good, the way they just have it structured, where it's you can pretty much watch episode 2 and 3 and not watch the other two maybe, and still enjoy it. Like they're all good like episodes. You're not going to understand what's going, like why he's doing certain things, because they're not
Yeah,
really, besides the first one, the first episode at least, they're not really like heists or anything. So it's just
yeah, because even the first episode, it's almost like a standalone because it's not until the second episode, I believe, you find out when he starts questioning it because he realizes like the gems and the diamonds and the necklace never got taken apart, right? So then he's
yeah,
like, let me go dig into this because I think he just wanted to take the necklace, right?
yeah, he wanted to
Kind of
like
as
get
like
it
a
back.
revenge thing. And then that got him into it because he was realizing, like, wait, they're lying about this. What else are they lying about? Then he just gets deeper and deeper. So like the first, you don't even have to watch it. I guess you could skip over that. Whatever he gets the necklace, move on to episode 2. But like
Yeah,
you said, yeah, like each episode's on its own, which is cool.
yeah, it's just may or may not make sense, but might not be a problem if you don't pay attention to like, it's because they're good episodes for the most part. Like, uh, but so did you? What episodes I guess kind of like stood out for you and like your favorite or any scenes and stuff? I have a few. So you
Like the first episode definitely hooked me. But I think my favorite episode was probably the prison one because I always talk about it. Just that one was to me the most over the top one, I
yeah,
guess, out of all of his exploits. But it was good. It got me even more hooked because
yeah,
he starts off with swapping with the inmate, and then
that
he
part
ends
was
up
cool.
getting stabbed on purpose, so he can get to the inmate that's in like intensive care. And then after that, he like fake hangs himself and like takes the
With
pill
a
to like
basketball hoop or whatever, like
yeah, with the net
yeah,
around
with
his
the
waist.
net.
And I was just that even I was like, I love this show. I was like, it
Yeah,
might be my favorite show of all time after that.
the best show of 2021.
Best show of 2021. Good luck. And sweet, I think going back to the best show of 2021, I think it got so far it's like over 70 million views.
Oh wow.
So it's actually like one of the most watched Netflix shows like ever. But I think Bridgerton one that just came out now, which I haven't watched, but that one I think it's like at 80.
Which one's that? What is that?
It's like the Renaissance. Like I heard it's like softcore porn or something. Like some of the sex scenes. It's a top 10 show too.
No, yeah, because of course.
Yeah. I heard it's like Gossip Girl with like softcore porn or something. But
Oh well, I'm out.
in
So
the Renaissance period, but
ooh,
like
Renaissance. I'm even out further. No.
I mean I'm probably not gonna watch it, but I heard it's good.
Okay.
It might not be my taste, but the Lupin, as I was saying, it's got 70 million views.
Jeez.
So I guess
Well deserved.
it's a good show, I guess. So. Well, what about you? What's your favorite episode or part of the episode?
I would definitely say episode 1, just because, like you said, that's where I kind of, even with like the generic heist stuff, I still liked it. Even the scene where like they're about to throw him off the roof and they pull him in and he's like, throw him off the roof, and they like CQC throws the guy into the TV. He's like, you saw me, but you didn't look at me, or whatever he said, like generic. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so generic, but I love it. Yeah, that definitely hooked me for both him as an actor and also like just the show itself. Even like the when he was like, every episode at least, when they have the he kind of shows you what he did in like semi flashbacks. So it showed you at the end of the first episode how he's like using like Adobe Photoshop to like edit his Wikipedia page, and he's like resizing his head. I don't even think it was Adobe Photoshop. It was probably like some
like Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, like open source like paint thing. But even just that was like, all right, I get the tone of the show now, so I'm good. Like I'm on
like
board.
Net worth 76 million. He's like, put a 5 in front of that.
I like the prison one too. That one actually made me get like the feels, especially with how he worked like the nurse, and made it like he made it seem, he made it in a way where like she was gonna check on him and find him. I don't know if that was like necessarily planned, but I imagine if you like semi kill yourself, like you need to be resuscitated relatively soon or quickly. I don't know, but in my head, because that's what he, all this elaborate planning, he planned to like have the nurse kind of come find him and stuff.
Yeah,
like you said, even when they like, he's like, yo, let me, when he was stabbed already, and he's like, he was gonna get like ambushed by those two guys. So he's like, yo, pass me the ball. And then he like went up for the layup to get the net. And then he's like, he missed. And then everyone was like, boo.
Yeah.
Like,
what I want to know is how did he pull down the net so quickly?
Gentleman thief. Yeah.
Speaking of which, that him shooting the hoop, that was like such the meme. That's like such a meme that circulates in the basketball world. Like growing up when you're playing basketball outside, and then homeboy always comes like, "Hey, let me get a shot," and he's like in Timbs and jeans, and he just like shoots an air ball, and he did exactly that. So I like really appreciated that they did that on the show, because that's just like a running joke for years, where like some guy just shows up like, "Yo, let me get a shot."
Yo, pass the rock. Let me go for the layup. And
it's and he like hurt his back. He's like, "Oh."
It's like he opens up his wound again, and like, but, yeah. So that one, episode 4, was good with the reporter. I really liked, even though it had a lot of foreshadowing. Like, I don't know. I want to say 10 minutes into the episode, I knew she was going to die.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It actually made me like feel a little sad, because even the way he found her, he didn't find his dad, but obviously he knows that his dad supposedly hung himself. So even that kind of, at that point, Pellegrini knows who's after him now or whatever. He knows
Yeah.
it's the Assane Diop. So like finding her supposedly hanging herself, and he was the one to find it, like that made me a little sad because it's like it was kind of reliving that from the same guy, you know. So
Yeah.
that was a good episode too. I like that. And then episode 5, of course, the flashback when he's like robbing the old lady who's like, "Oh yeah, we got these gems from like some people in the Congo or whatever. They didn't even know what hit them. We just went in there and stole it, you know, or like took it."
Yeah, they didn't know it was laying
But
under their feet.
that was good, man. Like the flashback one. I really
Yeah,
like that. Even when he was like bantering with the cops outside, he's like, "Oh man, they're agile at this age. We don't get
yeah.
paid enough." Like,
It's funny because the way he works people in each episode,
yeah,
it's like very realistic because the way they would react to the way he works them is like I feel like it's very accurate. You know, like it's like, hey guys, I got this. Like
yeah,
go to the back. Like if you're a cop and someone shows you a badge, like I guess in your head just to trust them, and if he's like giving you directions, you're probably just gonna listen to him.
yeah. And I feel like we've all, even if we don't want to admit it, we've all been kind of like, maybe not so much duped, but like swayed by one person who's just like, it's like, oh, all right, that guy seems normal. Like, you know, he's like, oh, wait,
Yeah,
wait, don't go over there. You might want to go around because like there's like, I don't know, some nonsense going. Oh, thanks, man. Good looking at, you know, like,
exactly. Because your first instinct isn't to question someone. Your first
yes.
instinct is to probably like listen and kind of trust them.
But yeah, that's a good
Unfortunately,
point
so
though. Yeah, but
that's
that's
what
a
he
good
does.
point though. Like I feel like it was very realistic in the sense of like oh yeah, I believe him. Like like
Yeah,
why
because
wouldn't I?
he's so convincing.
And
And I guess that's the point.
and that's interesting too because the only person who did kind of question him was the commissioner when he was like, "Oh man, we got to delete this porn off your laptop," and he's like, and then I think the receptionist was like, "Oh, you know, where's Timmy or somebody?" And he's like, "Who, Timmy?" And then the commissioner like got kind of this feeling that something was wrong. He's like, "Let me see your like credentials." And he's like, "Let me see your credentials. Like if you want to." So it was cool seeing him like be caught and like just throw a scene and stuff. Even though the
Yeah,
commissioner followed him anyway into like the dark bowels of the fucking basement of the building. But
yeah, that was pretty cool too. Where they got the delivery guy, and he's like, "Oh, he just told me to drive around the block and drop him off at the front."
oh, the
Like,
van or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I was like, "Oh man, that was pretty slick. Oh, that was pretty good." How do you feel about the action scenes in there? I felt like they were pretty smooth, considering like he was pretty good. I kind of want to know a little bit more of the backstory of how he got so good at the
And
fighting.
that's actually one of my things. Like that's what I don't want to say I didn't like about the show, but that's something I want to see more of because he's super competent. Like, you know, he's
Yeah,
obviously swindling people. He's got a lot of money because apparently he's successfully heisted things, you know, and stolen things. But then he's fucking guys up dressed up as an old man with a
with the
cane,
cane.
and
Yeah,
then the
you beat
guy
up
who's like
10 guys in that scene.
yeah, and in the last episode, episode 5, he's like fighting a guy who's clearly like a hitman or an assassin, you know, like something of that nature, like the cleaner, you know. And he just like fucks him up and throws him in like a broom closet or in like the train, you know, like. So I would like to see like more, like how's he so good? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll get into a little bit more of his like youth background, because obviously like he loved the Lupin books, and that was like his role model, I guess, after his father being not in his life anymore.
yeah,
So, but it's interesting to see like I want to see a little bit more development, like because it was cool to see like his past with the old lady and stuff. But at that point, he was already like a beast
yeah, because
at
he,
heisting
yeah,
apparently. So
yeah. What do you think about like the tone of the show? Because like obviously the tone, it's semi-serious, right? Like you don't show people like getting like hung, you know, like and it's not or like people, but they didn't show anyone die on
on
screen.
screen,
Not from what I
yeah,
remember. They didn't show. There's no real blood or violence. There's a few fight scenes, but they're good, but they're very tame. Like no one's like getting their arm broken and like neck snap, you know, like do you
yeah,
think
yeah,
would
yeah.
I I
You want to see a little
prefer
bit
like
more, or
I I prefer if it's like an action show to be like semi-violent, but
yeah, it's
I'm
not
also
an action show though. I guess
that's what I mean.
it's
Like,
like it's a pure heist because I feel like even the action makes it more like a true heist because it's not trying to like the death scenes and stuff isn't really taken away from the show. You know, like when she died, like it was a sad moment, but it wasn't like I was like in tears. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
super emotional scene. Like you just kind of wanted, it just kind of added more fuel, I guess, to the fire for him. But
So you're a fan of
I
the
don't know. I
tell?
kind of liked it, yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like a little bloody gore is gonna take it away, and I feel like the
Well,
action is like just enough. Like
yeah,
I don't need it to be that actiony because then I'll be questioning him too. Like what
yeah,
like
well,
was
like,
he
why
in
is he
like
okay with
special
killing
forces
everyone?
or
Like, yeah,
something?
like instead of just like beating up people with the cane and running out of the news building, he just like kills one guy, takes some guy's gun, like throws a knife in someone's like. No, and at first I was like, I could use a little more action, but I've also like learned to appreciate shows and also like games and shit for what they are, and it's like you said, it's a heist kind of more, not even heist, like I guess like a revenge, but he's not like out to kill the guy. He's out to like prove that
Like trying to
he's,
expose him, yeah.
yeah, and like you said, I think it makes it more realistic for what it is. Like, why would this guy start like killing people? Like, no, he's gonna fight his way out, throw him in a
Yeah,
closet,
yeah,
lock the door, and just like, or like frame someone, and be like, oh man, he tried to get me with a gun. Like,
exactly. Because I mean, if he wanted to, he could probably just like kill Pellegrini. You know, I mean,
yeah.
he got to his house with like a drone. He could just like
Like put a
but
bomb in
blow
that
it
bitch.
up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's not that kind of. It's not that
Yeah,
kind
I think it's much better to not go too overboard on that end, because then you just have like you said, it takes away from the show and makes it not make sense for a character. But and also it's nice to at least not be like, the whole Batman thing where it's like, oh, it's a thing of discipline and self-control. I don't want to be like like it's like, yo, shut up, man. That's why the Joker wins. But
yeah,
anyway,
that was a good impersonation, by the way.
thanks, man. I've been practicing for years. So what what are your thoughts on Mr. Pellegrini as the bag? I'm even saying I'm saying it wrong, but whatever. Pellegrini.
Pellegrini, whatever.
What,
Yeah.
any thoughts?
For me, right away, I mean, it's the rush hour theory once again comes back, where it's follow the rich old white guy is always the bad guy. So I mean, it wasn't surprising from the beginning, like when they did the flashback of like, hey, the necklace is missing from the safe. You're like,
Yeah.
oh god, here we go. So I mean, it wasn't surprising. I mean, I'm fine. I was fine with him as being the bad guy. The only problem was when they threw in the fact he was like an arms dealer and that like
Yeah.
VHS tape. To me, I thought that was just unnecessary. Like, why couldn't he just be a rich guy that was like going like broke
And just
and he just needed money? So he
did some
like,
shady shit,
yeah,
like,
yeah, like he needed money to like bail himself out,
yeah, I
like a
don't mind.
financial situation, and then he just like did the necklace thing.
Yeah, and I don't mind that he like had that guy potentially kill
Yeah, that's
us.
fine because
Like,
he's rich.
it makes
Whatever.
sense for his character. I do think they're just kind of making him like be as bad as they can make him. But I'm like, he's not. He's just like you said, he's just a rich old white guy. Like, like,
Yeah, like why can't like a rich old white guy? Because I mean, after the necklace, you find out he got like wealthier. So like in my head, I'm like, I mean, rich old white guys could probably just pay some guy to kill someone. No
yeah,
problem. Like, but now that I guess he's involved in the I mean, it was a gun trade. I guess
yeah, it was
illegal
guns,
illegal
yeah,
guns. I'm sorry.
and yeah, and then they like used them to bomb an embassy. Unless I'm getting that mixed up with a game or something I played recently.
No, yeah, they
Yeah, is
used.
that?
I forgot what country it was. Yeah, I think they provided like the militia or something with like guns
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I
over
just
on the French embassy in that country.
I just don't think, like, and nothing against the actor. I just don't think his character is that like good. He's not evil enough, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I
He's
didn't
like
get that
very
vibe either.
neutral. It's like you have a tone of the show, and then you're trying to have like the bad guy be more than like more than the show like needs as a villain kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now they're adding in the gun stuff, and I'm sure there's gonna be something else. Also, the way he like interacts with his daughter is a little creepy too. I know his daughter's
Yeah.
like a grown ass woman, but like I
It's
think
like,
that
don't
once,
speak to your father like
yeah, and
that. You're
then
hurting my
he's like,
feelings.
oh, I'm sorry, and he like goes and like rubs her face, and he's like, are you with me? And I'm like, ugh, this makes me like real uncomfortable. I
Yeah, yeah.
don't
I
know.
think the problem for me with him is like, you made a good point where like he's just not evil enough. But they also didn't give him like any evil scenes, you know.
Yeah,
Like
he
it
just
would have been
yells at
nice if
people.
they like showed him like in the office with his goons or something. Was like, yeah, deliver the guns or something, you know. So, but they didn't do any of that. He's just like some creepy old guy, and then you find out on the tape he's like selling guns
Yeah, like just some.
on
I
the
think
black market. So
they need to show more, like make him do more things that you're like, oh man, this guy deserves whatever's coming to him. Right now, I'm just like yeah, I guess he deserves what he did to Hassan's father, but like I don't know, he's not that bad as a
yeah,
villain in a sense. Like I've seen a lot
I need to
worse.
see his bad guy network. You
Yeah.
know, like I need to see how far, and I'm sure they'll get into that, like how far reaching he is, because apparently he has like all the connections and all that stuff
I do
with
wonder
like the
if
commissioner of the police and all
yeah,
that
he's under
stuff.
like his payroll and stuff. And you can see how he got like he turned a seemingly good cop into his kind of like shady goon, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the next part turns out because I don't know, sometimes these shows go two ways or multiple ways, but like they generally go two ways. They either continue with the theme and tone and whatever and they're fine, they end whatever, maybe the first season, whatever you want to call it, or they just go like super dark or then he starts killing people, you know. So I hope they
Yeah,
don't do that.
yeah, I agree. I feel like sometimes with these shows they'll change tone, and
Yeah,
I hope the tone doesn't change, you know, because the tone is like it has a nice pace to it, a nice balance to it. So yeah, you're right. Like part two could just be like him just getting like full revenge for like kidnapping his son or something.
I'm just like
Like Taken Part 7
yeah,
or something.
I'm like semi like holding my breath for like episode 6 part, you know, part 2 episode 1, I mean. And it's like him finding out where his son is and he starts loading up the guns and he's like it's just suddenly he just starts killing, you know, like if that happens that I think I'm out kind of.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I don't want to see that. I hope that doesn't. And then you find out like his ex-wife was like ex-military too.
that she helps. Wait, wasn't that in the Jason Momoa we saw Braven or
Oh
whatever?
yeah, she's like a
The wife comes
crossbow
in.
teacher or something. I don't know. She comes
Oh
with like
shit.
20 crossbows.
The knife sticking out
Great
of the
movie.
throat. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Listen to our episode if you didn't. Anyway, so what do you recommend the show? I do.
Yeah.
Short answer.
Right away. I think you know, I'm the last podcast I told you to check it out. So
Yeah, good recommendation.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad. Seemed like most people that I talked to saw liked it. The show did we talk about it? It got 96% Rotten Tomato. Did we say that?
No, no.
And 96% Google reviews. So it seems like the public likes it.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, I'm
Yeah,
glad when like things I like other people like too,
yeah.
because then it's like I feel a little more justified. So
I'm usually never justified.
no,
I'm like, yo, I love this show, and then you go on like Google, and it's like 10%. I'm like, yeah, it seems about right, I guess,
yeah.
but still,
It's like, oh wait,
it
I
would be
loved it
nice.
because it was bad. Now I know why. Yeah. So
Yeah,
this one I loved it because it was actually good, not because I thought it was funny bad,
yeah. Well, like, what are you
like
telling me?
Ava or something.
People don't like Homefront too, like, but
Speaking of which,
yeah,
I guess we'll get into Cutthroat City. But
okay,
we I guess talk about how you know, Netflix, like me and Danny, before we got on this, we were talking about how Netflix needs to do, you know, more action movies because
yeah.
we saw how Homefront, starring Jason Statham and James Franco as a very awful bad guy, is number 2 in the top 10, and we're like
So weird,
like
man.
a old ass Jason Statham movie,
So weird.
and you know, there's obviously a demand for bad action movies on Netflix because they're always in the top 10. Why doesn't Netflix just do like Homefront type movies?
Yeah, and I mentioned I'm like they would probably they would make so much more money because like you just start casting people who are like C-listers, B-listers, up and coming action people, like, you know,
Yeah.
like
Hey, Jason Momoa.
well, I don't
Honestly,
know.
like, I mean, he's
Scott
besides
Adkins.
Aquaman.
He's like the new Jean-Claude Van Damme, man. You could
Yeah,
throw him in a
but
bunch of these.
he has his niche though. You know,
He
like
does.
you need like like a B actor, I think.
Yeah, I think if it doesn't involve ninjas, a prison island that's also a tournament island, or someone getting lost in the woods and coming back for revenge, Scott Adkins is out usually. So,
Yeah,
or a
definitely.
cyborg. I think he was a cyborg one, but whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, but I mean, they have Thor, right? But like Extraction, like is too big budget.
Yeah.
You know, they need to do
Also, just
like a
bad.
peppermint style, a Taken style. Like make their own movie franchise, something
That
like
now,
that. I think it would be good.
do you
Why
think
not?
they should go to sci-fi, or should they? Because I feel like a lot of people enjoy sci-fi, even though they're so bad lately. But
What you're saying? They're sci-fi movies?
yeah.
No, I think they need to stop making their sci-fi movies. Like their sci-fi action movies suck.
They should just re-release Lockout again. Just
Yeah,
just like re-release it, like don't even say anything and just like throw it on the top 10. And
I
just
still
if people
think
like
their
watch
best
it.
like original like blockbuster action sci-fi movie was Bright, and that was their first one.
Yeah, and that one I liked, and but it wasn't like, yeah. I've seen better. I just liked it. Also
Yeah,
Will
yeah, yeah.
Smith.
I just
Yeah.
thought it was and I remember at the time it was like, oh, it was big blockbuster, spent this much money. But they're spending that much money on all these other bad sci-fi movies now too. And I don't know, I thought it was like it's still better. Like to me, Bright was better than Outside the Wire, better than
Yeah.
Project Power and some of those other ones that they've come up with recently, but whatever. They need to make low budget action movies. Is basically my point.
Yeah, keep them cranking, especially if you're gonna up my subscription. Start. They said they're bringing in. It's the for the quality of the content coming. So we'll
Yeah,
see. I'm not
well,
gonna
we'll
cancel
see.
my
We'll see.
subscription. So
But I guess that gets us into Cutthroat City because that one did come out in the movie theaters that we mentioned earlier. But
yeah, in August.
I'm treating it like a Netflix original. But
I thought
like
it
stuff
was.
like
So
this is pretty good too if they come up with movies like this where you don't have great known actors and I mean Ethan Hawke was probably the big one, but
yeah,
I thought it was good for what it was.
yeah. Do you wanna go through the movie real quick? Just give a little overview.
Yeah, we'll go through it quick. So it's basically it takes place in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina hits. Basically a group of four friends.
Yeah,
They're basically after Katrina, they're already poor to begin with, but then after Katrina destroys the Ninth Ward
yeah,
district of New Orleans, which is like where they're from. So they're even more poor. They lose everything, I guess, after Katrina. I guess their original homes,
yeah,
etc. And basically, they get to a point where they feel helpless. The main character, I don't even. Let me see. What are all their names? Let me just go through all the actors' names.
just call him E. I don't know.
So yeah, his nickname is Blink. So he's like artist, but he's like they show him going on job interviews to try to get his graphic novel published, and basically, end of story. They're all helpless, so they get into crime. Of course, they go
Yeah.
to their cousin Ti for help to kind of get into this thing. So they end up robbing a casino, but then you find out there's a couple guys trying to take him out too for the same thing. One of their friends dies first, Andre, which from the beginning, I guess you kind of know he would have been the first one
Yeah, he's
to
the weakest
die.
link. He plays a saxophone. Just like
Yeah, exactly. So that they go to Ti and they try to keep some money, I guess, for themselves, right?
yeah,
And they're like, Ti wants, more. He doesn't believe him. He knows that there's more money, and they're like, they get away. For some reason, they ended up not killing Ti there. I would have killed him.
yeah. Same. I didn't quite get the logic of that, but whatever.
Yeah, so they end up having to pay him back, or they feel like they're gonna die. So they end up robbing all these small casinos. They meet Terrence Howard's character, who's like the lead honcho,
Was it Saint
the
or
Saint.
something? The
Yeah,
Saint.
the
Yeah,
Saint. And then basically they cut a deal with him, and now they're like free. Back, they're allowed to go back to their own homes because the Saint kind of pieces it out by killing Ti. And then there's like a ending, which I guess we'll talk about later. But there's two endings almost, and I guess reading about what happens, they kind of leave it open to the audience. What you want to do with it, I guess. Which I mean, I thought it was whatever.
yeah. That we'll need to talk about because I was confused because you told me there were two endings, and I'm like, what? Were there? Did I close it out? Where were they?
Yeah, there's different like. I don't think. And this was directed by what's his name?
Oh, the RZA.
The RZA. Yeah,
The RZA.
you did a good job here. I thought you did a good job, but I haven't read from him directly like his take on the ending. But based on the ending, like I guess you can interpret like they die, and like the other ending of him drawing is like his heaven.
Mhm.
But then you can also interpret that like maybe the whole end scene was like part of his graphic novel,
Okay.
because then it kind of leads to him like signing off, right? Because in the beginning of the movie they talk of, you know how they go through his graphic novel and
Yeah,
how they're like
yeah.
holed up and all the white
Oh
supremacists,
yeah, like
they
there's
run
like
through and they're
samurai
like,
stuff. Like,
yeah, and they're like screw it, and that's kind of how it ends, right? Like they're holed up, and then they end up coming out and dying, and then
oh,
it leads to him like in the graphic novel place signing off. So but then at the end they show his like his wife going to his dad's place with the son, so you don't know how to like interpret it. But and then
yeah.
there's also like mid-credit scene where Miracle is still alive and he's working with like Ethan Hawke.
Oh.
So you kind of, I'm just like whatever. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
well,
don't know,
I
I
just
can take
perceived
it
the
for
ending
whatever
as
it is.
I kind of like the ending of like they went back, even though Terrence Howard told them like you can go, you guys are talented, you can go anywhere you want. You want to go back, and they're like, why? And they're like, because it's our home. And I get that. But then they go back and their lives are just as shitty, and then they go out and try to rob a place, and they kind of like that's the that's it for them. They get caught, and they all get shot up and die, and I'm like, oh, that's a very like poetic way of ending like their story, like.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Which
some people, I guess, on the theories, they
okay.
they they assume after that Terrence Howard thing, like whatever he kills Ti, and they assume that they actually all go their own different ways,
Okay,
and
okay.
then he ends up becoming an artist like somewhere else or something. So that's why they show his wife, because like he left her. But I'm like,
Where do
that's a
people
little
get
too
that?
far
Yeah, I don't
fetched. I
get
don't
that.
know.
That's like
Yeah,
a
I'm
fan
like,
fiction though. Like,
yeah, yeah. That's like, I'm like, I don't think I saw it that way, but I saw it more that maybe the end was like part of the graphic novel or something. But
you see, I find that more like I can believe I can get on board on that one a little more than like, no, no, that's just all these things are just he left his wife and then he went to LA and
yeah,
then
yeah, exactly. Like I'm like, that's a little too far fetched for me.
yeah, it's kind of like those weird like fanfics people do of like, like, oh, Daniel Craig didn't die in this movie. He just went off to like this part of Italy and like found, like it's like what are you playing at here? Um,
Yeah.
how'd you like it overall, the movie?
I thought it was good. I don't think it was like a great film, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was like, I kind of enjoy seeing like movies where you almost like you. I kind of felt for the characters, because
Yeah, me too.
you feel like, when people get like being down and helpless, and then they go try to get themselves in a better situation, and unfortunately their better situations go into a gangster like Ti, and then
Yeah.
it's like they just get more deeper in the hole. So I thought that was kind of cool too, and it wasn't like a happy go lucky thing for them either. Like, I mean, they lost their friend in the first time they like tried robbing something. They're
Yeah.
like hiding, like they're not like gangsters,
Yeah,
where they're
they're
just
they're
like,
no better than and even like the description of the movie actually was very misleading because I think it read something like then he takes like he tries to become a kingpin on his own or some nonsense like that, and like that is not
yeah,
what happened
it
in the
had nothing to
movie.
do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the movie, and that's what I thought too. I thought maybe like the four friends were gonna eventually, like, I guess, like kind of run the shit
Yeah,
by the
like
end
move
of it.
up or something. But then it's like you have 20 minutes left in the movie, and I'm like, when is this happening? Like, I don't think any of that's happening. What they
Yeah, yeah.
described.
Like I don't think these guys are making it big. And then you find out, yeah, they all kind of get shot. But
Yeah, I did like it too, though. I thought it was it's more realistic, like what
yeah,
happens, why people do this kind of shit. I'm glad it wasn't like it didn't turn out like what was that fucking show, Superfly, I think, or whatever. I think that was a movie, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, with
yeah, yeah.
the pretty boy, whatever, and it's like that is like the classic like, oh, I'm smarter than everyone else and I played everyone, even if it looks like I'm not gonna win at the end, I end up winning because like I planned 10 steps ahead. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that's bullshit, man. Instead of like
yeah, yeah,
I do enjoy that this was a kind of more realistic take on like why people get into crime and when people get helpless, why they do this kind of shit. And
yeah,
they go back to it.
yeah. And what they were saying, like at the end of the movie, I think, after Katrina in real life, like crime shot up, and a lot of the crimes were like people robbing
Yeah.
People doing like thefts because people were desperate. People didn't have money. People lost everything. So it was a good take. And like you said, like compared to Superfly, like these guys weren't smart. Like they weren't like they were robbing small casinos, but like we've been to New Orleans, like some of the or even I remember we went to like a casino in Ocean City
Oh yeah,
as well, and like some of those small casinos, like I'm telling you, like me and you can
yeah.
probably
We could
rob it.
rob
Like
them.
it's not that hard. Like
Yeah.
you
I
just
think
have
we
to
might
get
have
out
talked
in
about
time before
it.
the cops get. Yeah, they're usually like in the middle of nowhere, and so yeah, like that's believable if you got like three guys with like big
Yeah, just
guns.
just willing
You
to
know?
do it with like.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing about that was like unbelievable to me. So
I do have a big gripe on the movie. Um, I don't know why Wesley Snipes was even in it. I was disappointed.
me
Um,
too, because the way the trailer played it, I thought Wesley Snipes was gonna get involved.
Me
Because
too.
the way the trailer is like, and then he meets his father, and it's like
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes with a shotgun, and
And
he
like, and with the tank
rips.
top and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Looking
does
good as
nothing.
ever. Man. Yeah, he was in the movie like 5 minutes total runtime, I think. He was good, but it's just disappointing because he didn't really do it. I thought he was gonna like at least help shoot some people or something, but yeah, he didn't do any of
Yeah,
that.
no, he didn't do anything. Yeah, he was sad.
So
That's pretty much his role.
yeah, he was just sat in like a
Just
cabin in
sad
the
guy.
swamp. But we talked about the ending. I don't know. I like the ending. I interpreted it as just they went back to where they wanted to be, and unfortunately, life didn't get any better. So they resorted back to like the one thing they were apparently good at, and that was robbing. And then, of course, their first new robbery goes just as bad as their first one, essentially. But instead of losing one person, they all die. So I
Yeah,
kind of took
yeah,
that as like a little bit poetic, That's the way I
yeah.
took it. But I
Yeah, it
liked
was
it. I
good.
mean,
I guess what you think of all the actors? They actually had a pretty good cast. Like if you think like no one was like a superstar, but I mean the guy who played Blink, the main character, I thought he was
he was
really
good.
good. They had
Yeah.
his wife, Kat Graham, is pretty good.
I thought.
Wesley Snipes is good.
Yeah, he didn't do anything, but he's good.
Yeah, but he was all right. Demetrius Shipp, I think he's the guy that plays Tupac in the Tupac movie. He
Yeah.
was like awesome. He was Miracle. He was pretty funny, and he was like a broke weed dealer. So I thought that was funny. Andre, who dies, like he was all right, and
Yeah.
they had the other guy, Junior, who was like the white guy of the group.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's funny though, because he's like just like a child in some of the other movies he's in.
Is he
Like
really? I didn't look at his any.
he's in Alita, Battle Angel. He's
Oh,
like the
okay.
main character in that, and I think he was in Midway. He was like the guy on the back of the plane, like with the turret, the
Okay.
main
Okay.
character for your boy from I forgot the movie he's in. I think he's a Taken, the updated, no updated transporter. What's his name?
Okay. Okay. I don't remember.
I forget his name, but he's like his pilot guy, pilot friend. But and they even found a way to like make the cop unattractive, which I kind of appreciated because I saw she
Oh,
was in the
the
movie.
detective.
What's her
Yeah.
name? Yeah, what's her name? Isa. I don't know how to pronounce it. Isa
Yeah.
Gonzalez. But she's like, she's one of the most attractive actresses like in Hollywood right now, and they like made her look like very
Yeah,
unattractive.
they
So I
they
kind of
they
appreciated
grittied
it.
her up. Well, I don't know about unattractive, but like they made her less
Yeah, they made
attractive.
like her hair like greasy and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dressed like a man all the time. So I was like, I like that because I remember I saw the trailer and I told my wife, I was like, oh, she's in. I was like, yeah, she's pretty attractive. And she's like, oh, they're gonna slip like, and I was like, oh, but she doesn't. I was like, she's
The
playing a
nude
cop.
scene or
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like
She's like, they're
her
gonna
her
show her like
picking
in
up
a
the
bra and
phone.
panties, but
Like
they
it's
didn't
she's
do
getting a
that.
call from Ethan Hawke and she's like running in like her panties and shit. Like
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
and Ethan Hawke, I forgot about him
Hey,
too.
he's oh, and Ti.
And Ti, Terrence Howard. So they actually had a lot of good
Yeah.
actors
They also in the
involved.
beginning the guy who gets his dick bitten off by the raccoon or
Oh,
whatever. Tyrone Woodley. He's an MMA fighter.
oh, is he really? Yeah.
Yeah. He's lost like 3 in a row, but he's all right.
Well,
But
it's
he's a
hard to
bit.
fight when you lose the testosterone
Yeah, right.
after raccoon chomps you off.
But yeah, what are your
Pretty
thoughts
good
on
cast.
the RZA as a director filmmaker?
I thought he did good in this. I think compared to some of his past movies.
Yeah, have you seen the
Uh,
Iron Fist ones or
no, I've never seen
uh,
him. Like I feel like I might have seen some of it. I don't know.
So
I probably not,
I've
but this is
seen.
far different than the.
Yeah, no. I think I've seen both. I've seen both of them, and one other movie. I think he was either director or producer, and this one, of course. And honestly, like I think he's just a good director. It looks like because the Iron Fist they were cheesy, but
But they
they weren't bad.
they were
Pardon?
meant to be cheesy. They were meant to be cheesy.
Yeah, you know, like oh yeah, my arms get cut off and then I replace them with Iron Fist and then like start fucking people up. Like yeah,
Yeah.
what are you gonna take serious about
Yeah,
that?
they're very like Kill Billy, you know. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
and
they
I
even
think
have Lucy Liu in it. And,
that's true.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, the action's very Kill Bill. I think Quentin Tarantino, I think, has his hands on those too, though. So I think he got a lot of. I think he's like a co-producer or something like that on those.
yeah,
On
but
those.
I like I'm looking forward to like what else he comes out with in the future because I think he's pretty like amateur as like a filmmaker. So I imagine he has a lot more in him, you know. So I'm very interested to see what else he comes with because these are very different movies, you know. From Iron, this one is very different from the Iron Fist, and I thought this was a good movie. It was a little long, but it felt right for the type of movie it was.
Yeah, yeah, and the reviews. I mean, I saw 70% Rotten Tomato. I think you have here.
Not
I think
35.
you have 35, but I see 70. So maybe it got updated with the fact that it's on Netflix.
Oh, that could
Um,
64% Google though, unless that's updated too.
yeah, this says 75% now.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I guess has more time because we updated those well we didn't I guess that was the other day, so who knows how many people now that it's been in the top 10.
Well, I could see how that could
Um,
be skewed though if like it just got released on Netflix and no one's seen it because of the pandemic, and the people who
yeah,
do see it, you
exactly.
know, like are going to theaters, and I don't know how much I trust those people at the time. But
Yeah, so yeah, right now I'm on the tomato meter and yeah, 70%. But yeah, it's only like 40 reviews, so seems like some of them are current, so I guess it just got updated from when we looked at it before. But yeah, it's good though.
what do you think?
I don't mind it.
Recommend it? Recommend the movie? Not
Yeah,
maybe?
it depends if you like hood type stuff, I guess, because it is like it is falls in that genre of like broke black men in the hood trying to
Yeah.
like make a better life for themselves. That's pretty much like the overall theme, but there's a lot more to it than that,
Yeah,
obviously.
but if
But, but
if
if you're
you
not into those type of movies, then yeah, you're gonna probably not even watch this. But
yeah, they say the N word a decent amount like the first 10 minutes of the movie. And you know, sparsely throughout, but it's the RZA. Like he doesn't really shy away from that stuff in his movies so far. So yeah, like Omar said, if you're not into that kind of theme, then it may not be for you. But I
yeah,
don't know. I like that. I thought it was pretty it was enjoyable. I saw the whole thing. I was actually expecting not to like it. And then I think I
yeah,
texted
I
you like
remember you
10 minutes in.
texting.
I was like, this movie kind of sucks, man. I don't know. And
Yeah,
then
because the first 10 minutes is just like introducing them, and he gets married, and it's like you're like
yeah, I'm like, all right,
like what's this movie about?
yeah,
But
exactly.
nah, it gets good.
But
What did you think happened in the end? I guess like
that
if you thought it was two endings, or
no, I just thought it
you
was
thought
one. And then I
you thought
saw
it was one.
like he talks to the cop again at the end, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Didn't he die? I thought that part was like a flashback or something, or like
What, where he's in the drawing? You're saying at the
yeah, doesn't he talk to the cop at the end like again after that scene?
yeah, because she's like in the art studio, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I told you to use your pen, not your gun," kind of thing.
Yeah, and I got confused. I thought it was just some weird like symbolism, like message in the afterworld type of shit. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I thought too, I guess.
But also I didn't read too
But
much.
then
I was
I
just like,
think,
oh, that's weird, and then
yeah,
I like turn it
yeah.
off.
I mean, I think it's open to your interpretation, just because when they did show him like painting that one picture, remember when he's throwing the brushes on the floor, it's like,
Yeah.
and then at the end they show like him in the studio, and the picture behind him is like his friends,
Mm.
and then you find out that that was the picture he was drawing on the board.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I thought, like in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe that was part of, maybe he did make it big, and then that's part of the book,
Like part of
the
this
graphic
the
novel.
story that he
Yeah,
like
just because the
made
ending,
up.
I thought it was kind of stupid for them to go out guns blazing.
It was a little bit. That's why
So
I was
that's why I
like,
was like, is this real? The whole time I'm like, is this real?
but look, man, look, I'm I can appreciate movies that like make you think a little bit. I'm not one of those people that like I like a little, I like using the noggin once in a while. But sometimes you just need to tell me the ending.
Yeah, just give me an ending.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
that's how I looked at it. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then anything after, I was like, wait, what's going on? All right, so she goes to Wesley Snipes. All right, that makes sense, I guess. And I'm like, wait, what's this? Oh, so she's just like a weird message, about the theme of the story. It has nothing to do with this movie. Okay, that's fine, cool. Then I think I like shut it off and saw like Full Metal Alchemist again and shit.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm the same way, man. Like, especially when it comes to endings, I get kind of frustrated and like mad about it when the endings are like open. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, I sat through 2 hours of this.
it's
Like, just
it's
give me
like
an ending. You just give me
like
an ending.
the perfect example is The Sopranos back in the day, and like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think people should get outraged the way they did about the fucking ending, but at the other end of it, I'm like, you couldn't just like show me him get shot or like see the guys try to shoot him or nothing
Or
happens.
nothing happened.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
don't like just fucking cut the black when you like get all these like suspicious things going on right before the end. Like
Camera and the music changing, and
yeah, and
they
then you
show that
see
guy's face, that guy's
then you
face.
see the the Latino in the back, and then you see the black guys come in, and the Tony looks at them, and I'm like, come on, like just tell me what happens. Like I don't like, but also I'm not gonna like post on the forums and send like hate mail. So
Send death threats
yeah,
to producers and stuff.
tank
Yeah,
their
yeah.
stock.
It's just like, it'll get you like thinking and create conversation, kind of like what we just had now, right? Like the ending of this. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna like be mad at RZA for making this.
Yeah, like type on the keyboard like RZA, how dare you? Like just tell me what happened.
Yeah, and to me, it doesn't warrant like a bad
Da
review
da
of the
da da.
movie either. I still think the movie's good either way.
Yeah, I think it's good, but
Yeah,
yeah, I recommend it. But if you're not into like that hood kind of theme, especially some of the
yeah,
language, yeah, it may not be
yeah.
your
Some
cup
of the
of tea.
language,
But
but it's not too like. Well, I was gonna say
it's
it's not too much like it, but they
no,
do have like the Ti part and stuff. That does make it a little. Ti's character is like straight, like those type of films, I guess.
yeah, and
They
it's
even give him like the multicolored skin and make him look
oh
like
yeah, I forgot the condition or whatever, but it doesn't
yeah.
matter. But anyway,
But he was good in it.
yeah, I like Ti. I think Ti is a good actor, so no
I think we
complaints on
talked
him.
about it last podcast when we were talking about Takers
Oh yeah, yeah, it was good now too. It's
with
Hayden Christensen. That
Hayden
fuck.
Christensen and Chris Brown. I guarantee you, if that one comes out on Netflix, it'll be like number two.
I'd
Takers
watch
was a
it.
good movie.
I'd watch it right away. Honestly, I'd cover it
Yeah.
right away.
I,
Like
I would I would rewatch it. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but I don't
maybe
even
that's
know where it's streaming. But
yeah. Well, that's Netflix next week.
yeah. So what's next?
So I originally wanted to do the Little Things on HBO with Denzel Washington. I'm still gonna watch it.
Yeah, same here,
But
same here.
it's so far it's gotten some sketchy reviews. So we'll see it and definitely discuss it, just our thoughts for sure. But we'll see if we want to make a full episode on it. But so far that's probably next, right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that one will probably be the next one.
Yeah, it's
We'll
some
probably do it soon. I mean, maybe this weekend. We'll see. But
yeah. So by the time you're hearing this, we'll be recording the next one. So that one will come up sometime a little earlier next week. But yeah, other than that, we'll keep an eye out for what's trending. There were some good up and coming ones. There was one like The Cold Hour or something where it's like some foreign, like some prisoners on a moving like prison bus that they're like
I'm down
stuck in
already.
the
Sounds good.
in the bus because the people outside the bus are like looking to kill them. So it's like criminals inside and they have like a hostage, but then there's like even worse criminals outside trying to kill them.
It's like the
So
purge.
yeah, so that one I think just came out. I saw the trailer on Netflix. So and I think another one, but I forget the name. But there's other options for more interesting movies to discuss. But yeah, so we'll definitely have it up soon.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just quickly looking at Takers. it's not streaming anywhere, so you got to pay to watch it. Unfortunately,
I think it's ripe for the taking for Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix got to swoop in.
That's
Look
why
at
they're
the
doing that
cast,
price.
man.
That's why they're doing that price increase just for takers.
Hayden Christensen, Idris Elba, Paul Walker, Chris
Ooh.
Brown, Michael Ealy, who's like that pretty dude with the like, dark skin, blue eyes. Matt Dillon's in it. I forgot he was in it.
I forgot he's the cop, I think, right?
Yeah. T.I. Great cast.
Dude, the second that movie comes out anywhere streaming, we're gonna do a full discussion on it. A full 5-point inspection on that shit. Is it 5-point? Something like that.
Yeah, because it does have a great ending too.
Yo, don't spoil it, even though we spoil every single movie we cover. But
I think we spoiled it the last podcast.
But
it's all good.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for listening to OD Stream, where we discuss all things streaming, including movies, shows, and sports. Catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are available.